Hello, Maria, and hello, everybody.
Hi,
Today
hi, Amanda.
is our first episode of Business Renegades, and we're going to talk about business mindset.
Yes, very important, very important. And I don't think many people even think about they just want to start a business, but what do they want to start, right? I mean, where are they at? Have they always been employees and they've never tried to start a business? Or did they start something with little kids and then it carries on, right? Or in their family, have they seen anyone that is in business, or are they all employees? So Amanda, you know that. You were
Yeah.
just telling me that. Go ahead, your
Yeah.
experience with that.
Yeah, so I think a lot of the times, a lot of people, if they've not been exposed to business culture, they have a lot of 9 to 5 mindset, employee mindset.
Yeah.
So, people who are exposed more to people who own businesses, they have that more entrepreneur mindset of being able to get out of the 9 to 5 grind and take risks in business. Take risks on themselves, right? And that's usually the first part a lot of people struggle with. The first part of the mindset is getting out of the 9 to 5 and trying to build something more solid for themselves.
I would say that's the most difficult thing. And myself, I had a business in New York City, and I found the Americans were very entrepreneurial. Like the business that I was in and I was running, because I took over Long Island and Queens as a manager, that the people there were accustomed to being consultants and contractors. So that meant they don't make money if they don't work. So we would give them the contract. We'd say go out and do it. They would set up their own time, and they would go and bring us back the paperwork. We would send it to head office, and they would get paid. But when I came to Canada, because I had the business in New York City with my husband, when I came to Canada, there was nobody going around like I was as a contractor. They were all employees. And I found that so strange. And even as employees, they were paid very well with no education. That's the one
Mm.
thing I realized, especially with General Motors, is that a lot of people were making like $50 or $60 an hour. Teachers don't even do that in New York City. So, I mean, and when I came here, people thought it kind of strange that I was going around and I preferred that to a regular 9 to 5 job, 40 hours a week. I mean, for me, I could see the tax benefits of having my own business, having run in the United States. So there is a difference in the mindset, Amanda, and a lot of Canadians just don't understand the difference and they will never. So they
No.
think, and that's why you and I were talking about it earlier today. That's why they think that when they start a business, they're going to get paid right away. Well, that's not the way it works with business,
No.
as you know. You can contest to that.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. A business is an investment. It's a long-term investment. And it is an asset, it becomes an asset if you've done it correctly.
Exactly.
And so, a lot of people in Western society, they fear going off onto their own. They fear the unknown,
Mm-hmm.
and they're not really taught how to build and how to do all those things. There's a big difference. And I do know that in speaking to some elders, it used to be business courses were taught more in previous generations, but in current days, the curriculum is not there. You have to kind of seek that information out. And, a lot of that comes from talking to other business owners, family members who have had business, um, you know, hanging out with people who are doing similar things as you. Because when you're starting a business, a lot of people are not, they're going to doubt you and they're going to tell you, caution you not to do that. Or
Exactly. Yeah.
so you have to
Exactly.
be around like-minded people.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's why you belong to organizations. You belong to you join the Chamber of Commerce and all of that. But
Yeah.
when you're starting out, I mean, okay, so you're starting out. So where's the money coming from? That's why I tell everyone you have to have part-time jobs. I had
Mm.
7 jobs in 7 days, and I went from one job to the other 7 days a week. So sometimes I'd come home at 10 or 11 o'clock at night. But I was happy because during the weekend or during the day, I would work on my business. So, your business doesn't happen. It's not like you get a job and you get money at the end of the week. No, you may not be able to make any money for a year. Now,
Hmm.
can you possibly even survive with that? No. And when I was teaching for Niagara College, because I developed programs for Niagara College here in the Niagara region, I did the entrepreneurship program, and these were people that had lost their jobs and they came in to learn how to start a business. And I remember telling the professor there that you can't teach this stuff. I mean, I can teach it, but if you're not an entrepreneur inside of you, and you know that because you and I are both entrepreneurs. We started when we were little kids, you know,
Hmm.
you can teach them, but they would come and say, well, I want to make $60,000 a year with my business. I said, forget about those numbers. That doesn't exist. You know, you don't even have a concept. You haven't started it. You've just been an employee your whole life. Where do you think you're going to get the money from? So Amanda, this is where I see the problem. And you're right, they don't teach it in school. But my father was in business, and just like I think in your family you had seen that, right? So I could
Hmm.
see what he was doing. But also when I was a kid, I joined Junior Achievement, and we started that, and that started in school. Now I don't even know if they teach that anymore, but we had the Coca-Cola company coming into the school, and I think that was in grade 8. I could be wrong. And the group of people, the students, the kids from those classes would come. We would gather once a week, and we would talk about a business plan, who would be the director, president, and I was the treasurer. And then we decided on what the product was. And the product at that time was that we made blackboards. So we actually produced it, and we went out and we sold it. And what's interesting is that I sold the most. This is in Winnipeg, and
Hmm.
I sold the most. And what's interesting about that is that I was a woman, and I got silver coins for it, which was kind of fun, So I could prove myself that I was a treasurer, and also I became the best salesperson there. So I started it. I started showing it. And I know
Yeah.
you've done something very interesting. You said that you've
Yeah.
made money for the library. Tell us about it, Amanda.
Yeah, so when I was in public school, we had a school program and it was called Battle of the Books. So I started this, I worked on this from grade 6 all the way to grade 8. And what it was is it was a list of books that was distributed to all of the kids that were involved with this program. And the goal was for you to read as many, and there was thousands of books, and the goal was for you to read as many books as possible and remember the title and the name of the book. So you would go and compete against other schools, and you and your team would have to distribute the list of books, read as many as you could, and they would give a scenario. You would have to figure out the author of the book. So, I did this for years when I was in public school, and so we ended up winning first place, and we had won, $10,000 for our school library towards books
Wow.
and materials, which was kind of neat. But, this is stuff that you learn very young, is mastering a skill and kind of learning charity, learning how to work in a team. So, like for me, books and publishing has been my second language since I was young. And, you see people who learn these lessons younger, they take them through life. And that's really what people like me and you with the entrepreneur mindset
Mhm. Yeah.
take with us. We take the lessons of hard work,
Yes.
commitment, dedication, all of those things, discipline, having the discipline to have a list and
Yes.
not having someone breathe down your neck to get it done, but getting it done because you know that your success and your future depends on you completing something. Because when you own a business, there's nobody assigning you tasks, no one telling you when to get things done.
Yeah.
Everything depends on you. So if you are not good with discipline, you don't have the discipline and you're not good with organizing tasks and skills and mastering those and there is these mindset traits that have to come when you start with opening a business, and that's one of them, I think, is the biggest one is understanding, how your part of your journey kind of shaped where you are today, and
Exactly.
having those traits and mindsets and carrying them consistently through.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And you hit it right on the nose. They should be teaching this in school along with budgeting, having a bank account. I mean, like they don't teach any of this stuff anymore. And
Yeah.
so if you have a family that's doing it and you see it, and like my mother gave me a piggy bank, and I got 25 cents a week, believe it or not, for the chores that I did. So we had to do chores around the house. And you learn that as you're growing up. But if you don't teach your children, they will never learn, because in your 20s already you've kind of formulated who you're going to be. Now that
Mhm.
doesn't mean to say you can't start a business. You can start a business at any time, but you're not going to make any money.
No.
That's the one thing they have to understand. And unfortunately, Amanda, when you watch YouTube or Facebook, everyone's saying you can make instant money. And I know you and I spoke about that. There's no such thing. Do not believe it. And I want to tell you something else, Amanda, and everyone else who's listening. When you see these people, these influencers, that's fake. A lot, most of that is fake. And they say they make so much money. Well, who's paying them?
Mhm.
What is it? Is it a product that's paying them, or is it government that's paying them? Is it the CIA that's paying them? Like you've got to look and see. Someone just doesn't become an influencer like that.
Yeah.
There's some game going on in the back, because you and I, I've been in business 46 years. And you've been in business, I don't know, many years. I don't know how many you are right now, but there's no one giving me any money. I've earned every single penny that I have. I've earned every single
Well,
thing.
yeah, and you pay for it either, in labor or time.
Time and money.
You're
That's
going to
right.
pay
Yeah.
overhead costs. So
Yes.
the idea that there's this silver lining where you're going to have some magic formula to get rich overnight, and a lot of them, oh, do this 10-step blueprint to get,
Yeah.
and that's just not
Yeah.
realistic.
Yeah.
A business
Yeah.
is kind of like a young child. You have to raise it, you've
Exactly.
got to create it, you've got to raise it, you've got to nurture it, and along the way, you've still got to maintain that and keep an eye out. And, there's lots of steps in between. So, you know, a lot of people also enter an industry and they think that they're going to get rich just because they have a degree or they
Yeah.
have some level of education or certification or award or something. And that's just not realistic either. When you get into an industry, you have to actually have experience in that industry so you can figure out the problems and create solutions that
Mhm.
people want for that industry. That's how you create a
Exactly.
business that means something.
Exactly.
So,
Overnight, which is what social media is teaching these young people. And they get depressed because nothing's happening. Well, if you don't know how to market, I mean, there's so many skills you have to learn. And when I started my first business in 1982, think about the skills that I've had to learn from then to now. And no one's paying me to learn it, but I needed to learn because it's my business, and my business grows like a baby, right? And
mhm.
and and Amanda, when I had 7 jobs in 7 days, I was running. I would stop after I finished one job. I said, "What day is it today? Where do I have to go now?" I used to laugh at that, but that's the reality of it. You have to slowly, and you learn through experience. Like when I had my business in New York City, I came back to Niagara. I actually signed up for a course at Niagara College to
Yeah.
learn more about starting a business. And I came up with a business for my father and I, which was the honey business, because my father had the honey business. And so, I came up with the bottling and everything else, and I came up with the marketing of it and all of that. So, take courses. You can always come
Hmm.
to us. We'll be offering those courses. But if your high school or university or college offers you entrepreneurship or starting a business, just go and take it and read books and watch it online, on YouTube if you can't afford it, because you will not be successful unless you grow with what's happening. And I know you're always studying, and
Yeah.
so am I, all the
Yeah.
time. I'm on YouTube all the time. I was learning about Gemini. I was learning about Nana Banana. I'm like, it's all the time. I never have stopped learning. But
No.
that also gives me a great deal of fun, and something to look forward to, right?
It's true.
Yeah.
Yes, very
Otherwise,
true.
we become stale, and I don't want to become stale.
No.
And so this is wonderful that we have this course we're going to be offering, and that we're offering this on YouTube, and people will be able
Yeah.
to sign up in the
I'm
future.
excited about it because a lot of people, and even not even just new business owners,
Mhm.
even people who have been in business, they get to this period of stagnation and sometimes they become out of touch with their industry or their sector. And
Yes.
that being out of touch and not having that clarity, it can really kill innovation. So, growth and learning is absolutely critical, and that's why we're going to offer these courses so that
Yes.
if you're new, emerging, maybe you need, a little pep, something to kind of get you motivated again. That's the point of why we're going to be building this and doing all this for people.
Yes.
And so,
Yes.
the plan is that we would have it once a week,
Hmm.
and you and I are going to host, and then it will be very beneficial for everybody and more interactive, I think, because people seem to learn better once they're interacting and they're engaged rather than just reading a bunch of stuff or
Hmm.
watching hours worth of dry stuff
Yes.
too. Everybody
Yes.
learns so differently. So
And
I'm
it's good for
excited for
bring.
that.
Yeah, me too. I'm excited because we're bringing in our own experiences. That some of them have been costly, some of them, have just pushed us. Like what I find, some things when things don't work the way they're supposed to, you're kind of led in a different direction, Amanda. You weren't supposed to
Yeah.
go down that direction at all.
No.
And we're going to keep these videos short. I think we're about ready to wrap up now, right?
Yes, we
First
are.
video.
We are going to wrap up. And we will see everyone next week.
Yep.
And you can get a hold of me at www.magnetic-publishing.ca or magneticpublishing2023 at gmail.com. And then it's you, Maria.
Yeah, it's my turn. You can get a hold of me. You can go on my website, realwealthrealestate.com. You can send a message there or find me on all the Facebook pages. Like I'm on all social media. The other thing too is you can hear Amanda and I. We produce two shows on realwealthradio.ca. We have a show, it's called Times of Change, and we talk about business there also. And then Magnetic Minds on Sunday at 1 o'clock, at 12 o'clock, sorry, we talk about publishing, being an author. What does it take to be an author? It's not as easy as people think. So on Friday, every Friday at 1 p.m., it's Times of Change. And then at 12 p.m. on every Sunday, we have Magnetic Minds. And you can phone my radio station and leave a message at 437 600 6860. So I look forward to seeing you all next week. Thanks, Amanda. Thanks for
Thank
hosting.
you.
Take care. Bye bye.